Yep, for anyone unaware, this is what I look like. I know it's pretty disappointing. But that's not what we're here for. We are here to talk about anime and video games, and specifically why do we all kind of fuck with it. Like, if you fuck with anime, you fuck with video games. If you fuck with video games, you fuck with anime, at least in some way, shape, or form. So I'm gonna look into it a little bit, but first I want to kind of go over the history, a little bit of kind of where these two titans merged of entertainment and media. In 1983, there was a game release called Dragon's Lair, and it was made by a couple of people. It was an arcade game, and it had people like Don Bluth working on it, who, if I remember correctly, does Sky Studios, people who make Ice Age. And it was kind of made and developed by a studio named Taito, and 3 years prior, they had actually worked and made a Lupin the Third video game. And that's why I have these two here, because they kind of have that history. I know it's a shitty drawing and it's probably reversed for you, or maybe not. I should probably have it flipped on the other side so I'll be on the right side or left side, whatever way it looks. But yeah, basically, they made a Lupin game. It was very simple. It was simple sprites and you mainly had one goal. But yeah, they did that in 1980, so 3 years prior. So obviously there was enough overlap in the market for people to want to at least try and tap into it. And so I'm going to try and look over it by looking at different types of anime fans and then different types of gaming fans or gamer types. And then kind of see where the overlap is. And then finally, a third section, which if you kind of understand the history of these two, you'll kind of see where it's going. But by the end of the first two sections, hopefully you get where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. Alright, so anime fans first. We're going to start simple. We're starting with the casual. These also could be known as like people who are normally tough, seem tough or ghetto. They'll casually watch some animes, mainly Naruto. I don't know why. A lot of them that I watch, it's Naruto that they talk about, or One Piece, and they like. I don't blame them. I like One Piece a lot, but it's got some of its own issues. There's a reason One Piece exists, but that's more of the fault of the anime and the producers and the actual manga itself. But then there's still some flaws like every other piece of media. But yeah, I have to look down. But also you have, the genre of kid with monster. Normally, you'll have things like Pokemon, Digimon, Bakuman, Monsuno, and normally these people tend to focus, in Yu-Gi-Oh, that's a big one, and people tend to focus on just that. They develop, like, Pokemon, for example. I loved Pokemon for a long time before I discovered anime. The first anime I actually kind of watched was Naruto, and the first one I kind of watched fully, and kind of completed it. And my first small anime was Sword Art Online. Not that good, honestly. If the first season was just left how it is, I'd be fine with it. But yeah, so there are people who specialize in that, like MNJ TV, or a lot of the Pokemon YouTubers. It's like that's just the thing they're into. They don't care about the other anime stuff. They really like Pokemon. Or like I said, other people who just casually watch it. Yeah, and they just watch some like surface level shows. Or maybe they just had that one that their friend showed them and it's like a rare, obscure one. They're just like, this is just what I like. Or they just only watch the movies. And I kind of don't blame them. And I honestly, this could be their own kind of anime fans that like really just like the movies. But I don't blame them. The silent voice is awesome. The one about the tunnel that grants your wish. I can't remember what it's called. It's really good. I need to watch more of them, but I like serialized shit. There's more to it. There's more you can watch. There's more that they can add. But I also do like the movies. Next one is weebs, which is someone I would describe as like, they into anime. They kind of into the anime culture and community, if that makes sense. This is where you also get the people who play the anime video games, which again, already getting the crossover into the gaming sphere. There's a lot of anime video games, and like as an example, I got a couple of them sitting right here. I know I have Jump Force. I know I have One Justice. It should be in there. Yeah, My Hero One Justice. I play My Hero to Rumble. I live stream on that. That's something that got me a lot of people watching because anime and video games go pretty well together. And if you look at my channel, you notice like things that have anime and games overlap. Like From Software is a good example. They are, from what I understand, especially from their Twitter, Japanese based. They make amazing games and they have inspiration from Berserk. So you could kind of see like how the two already kind of collide. It's just We'll get to that point later on. Okay, now you got some of the worst people, which make it hard for others to get into anime if you have to deal with this kind of person. But it's like the purist, the elitist. They just kind of assholes and toxic. Like, they're like, if you don't know the super obscure shit, or they only watch certain things for like, they're judgy as fuck too about it. Like, you have to be watching some obscure but somehow 5-star anime in their opinion, where there's probably some issues with it, but they'll tell you, oh, they don't even matter. This is so much more important about it. Like, they usually say the story or like the characters or something. And yeah, to be fair, there's some praise there, but you don't gotta call everything out shit just because it ain't like that. Or they have that like one anime that they hold everything else to a certain standard to, or they have a combination of different anime things that they like, which doesn't even make sense. They're picking the best things from all different kinds of anime and then saying, yeah, if it doesn't have all this, I don't like it. Which, again, you can have your standards, but be reasonable. Like, I'm sorry, there isn't gonna always be something that has the animation quality or style of, I can't remember it now, Demon Slayer. You're not gonna get something with the world building of One Piece. You're not gonna get something with the power system of like Naruto and get all those different things. And like, you're not going to be able to find all those things at their highest quality in one show unless you just find some amazing top tier stuff that's just gone unnoticed or is just coming out. Which, awesome if you do, but don't expect it all the time or really at all. It's just not realistic. Then we have a fan group I call the Defenders. These are mainly like people, for lack of a better word, should be on a list, or they're really into the, let's say, uncensored drawings or uncensored videos, because they just defend it, or they defend like hypersexual anime, which, yes, this part of real life, sexual shit is part of real life, so I get it if someone includes it in the story, but unnecessary sexual shit, it's not a lot of people's favorite thing. I mean, yes, when you're shonen age, young boy, teenage boy, yeah, some titties are cool. Some ass is cool, even though most anime characters don't have much ass, but still, like, I get it. And then there, One Piece, again, I brought up as an example, as a good anime that a lot of people kind of like, but at the same time, like, the way most characters are drawn, it's definitely supposed to be easy on the eyes, but you could say the same thing for the male characters, and they also do have more diverse body types for both male and women, but it's just the main cast just tend to look pretty good, and it doesn't help that the women look the same, but the men all still look good by looking different. They all still have that like upper chest strength, more I think about it, they still have similar body types, just one's like a little leaner, one's a little beefier, one's taller, but yeah, that argument kind of falls apart, but you get what I'm talking about. They just hard defend this stuff, and even if like they're defended on ground you don't need to or really shouldn't be trying to defend. And I get why you probably really like it for other parts of it, but it's not a personal attack. It's just saying like, we don't like these parts, and it's kind of weird if you really like these parts. Now you have the psychologist / emotional watcher. These are the people that are watching more of the psychological, horror, thriller, romance, anime. They also tend to be shippers, especially the emotional watchers. I would say I'm more of a psychological watcher. I do like watching an anime and then it actually shows, oh yeah, these things going on do have an effect on this person mentally. It's kind of cool to see. So I do like the horrors, I like the thrillers, I like psychological. I do like Death Note a lot. It's an interesting look into battle of intellect on a level that's kind of realistic, other than the whole Shinigami part. But still, not too much to say about these people. And I'm just now realizing I didn't explain the whole, what they like or enjoy about this. Oh god. Casual people, they enjoy, normally, like, they're very diverse, because they usually latch on to that one or two anime that kind of hit for them, so it's kind of different. A weeb kind of starts to be there for more of the community. They enjoy being there because of the culture. They start getting more into the anime things outside of just watching the shows. Purists, they're the people that just like feeling special, or like they found some unique gem. That's really their thing. They like feeling special, and like they they're above the rest of the people who do this thing in this community. Defenders are just very emotionally attached or have issues. And the psychologist / emotional watcher, they are there for the emotions and the mind, the stuff there. They're very intrigued by the strategy, but also the emotions on display. Okay, now we can go back to how this is supposed to be. Goddamn. The cringy / weirdo / edgy kid, you know, the kid that's running down the halls with their hands behind the back. They're the ones doing the bad cosplays. Like, it's different if you do a good cosplay and you aren't being weird, but if you do a bad cosplay and you're being weird, like, there's this live that would always show up on TikTok of this guy in, like, decent, like Sasuke outfit, like, Naruto Shippuden Last Summit kind of outfit, but he'd just stand there and say random ass lines, like Sasuke or Chidori, or, like, just random ass lines, like before NPC people were a thing. It was just cringy as fuck to me, man. I don't know what to tell you. But, like, the edgy ones, too, who try to be all, like, act like a dark, mysterious anime character, and they just come off weird. It's mainly a lot of the people that you would describe as weird or feel like they are weird. Mainly what it is that there's a lot of shit mentally probably going on, and they just want to feel accepted, and in those worlds, they feel accepted, and they see it work for that character, so they try it. And there could be a combination of social issues. I'm saying this now. This goes for everything I have said and will say. I like psychology. I wanted to be a psychologist and a therapist. But I don't have any degrees. I don't have any paper. I haven't gone to college for it at all. So, don't take anything what I say as fact or truth. Do your own research, but obviously do good research. Double check what you look at and make sure it's credible sources. But it sounds like a lot of mental stuff and also social issues. A lot of times these people just need a good friend to tell them, hey man, it's kind of weird. Like someone they trust that can do it without making it feel like a personal attack on them. They need therapy. Like most people, but they really need it. There's then the group of community people who are way more involved in the community aspect than everyone else. These are like the power scalers, the content creators, the cosplayers, and where I don't have many, I have less than 100 subscribers. I'm happy with every single subscriber I have. I'm so happy that they decided to do that. I'm happy for every view, every like, every comment. Don't even care if it's positive or negative. Like, I'm happy for it. But I make what I would like to say is content when I do put effort into it. Like this video, I'm gonna try and edit it. I'm gonna try and make it. I did a whole little setup that hopefully displays kind of the topics. But at the same time, from that point, I'm engaging with the community. Like My Hero Ultra Rumble, I like when people pop on and want to join the game. Ghost is always awesome. Ghost 29, he's awesome. Mr. Sanford, a couple times he pops on, he's awesome. But they're also nice. I like the little, even if it's a small community, I'm happy with it because people are normally nice and they talk with each other and share information. I want to make a My Hero Ultra Rumble video breaking down like all the different characters, what they can and can't do. I've gone around. I want to do another video about like all the different mechanics in the game, so that way people actually understand what they can and can't do again, because a lot of that stuff I didn't know. I literally thought an All For One player was hacking because they had a different quirk set, like Mirio's quirk set, but then I realized they can take quirk sets from downed enemies. So that kind of showed me that I don't know as much as I thought. I already knew I didn't know a lot, but I didn't know it was that bad. And if it's like that for me, someone who's been trying to watch stuff, kind of playing the game a fair bit, yeah, I would like to help other people, and hopefully from that video I'll get a lot of comments and I can make a part 2 talking about all the things I learned from the comments. It would be cool to do, so that way we have this info around. Back to the original thing though, like power scalers, obviously they talk to people about their opinions on who's stronger. Normally this would include the people like Goku could solo your whole verse, but also you have people who just want to see like, who can win a fight, like, or how powerful is that character. I've done that before. I made a mathematical equation to figure out power level because I wanted to figure out how strong are these characters, how they stack up against each other. And I didn't do it to put in anyone's faces. It was just like, this is a thing I'm trying. I'm just seeing how it goes, see where people stack because of how it works, and test it out. And then you got cosplayers, which I tapped on earlier. If they're good cosplayers and they're not being cringy, and they just kind of like, it's different. It's different. Is it probably a bias and kind of hypocritical? Yes, but most people agree with it. If you pull off a good cosplay, and you aren't being weird or cringy and saying random ass lines in a weird voice, we're good. We're chill. I will pretend it's Halloween for you. I don't care. Then you have people I consider the high energy anime watchers. These are the people that are really into the fighting shows and the people that are really into the sports anime. For fighting, I'm talking like Baki, Ippo. You technically count Dragon Ball in there, but that's more, fantastical kind of thing. But you kind of see what I mean. Like, and then the anime people, they're gonna watch like Haikyuu, Kurosano Basketball. They're both really high energy because they're putting a lot of energy into either the fights, the physical fights, or they're putting a lot of energy into the sports, which people in real life already put a lot of energy to, even if you're just on the sidelines. So, kind of makes sense why they're high energy people. And that's kind of why they enjoy anime itself, for the high energy and how they could just see these take place and also probably learn something about the things they're interested in. Because I learned stuff watching all these kind of different kind of animes about fighting or about sports, and that it was cool. I didn't know that things were like that, or how things are, different techniques or ideas, and it's kind of cool. So now we have the toxic people. These are the people that are just kind of gatekeepers. You have the toxic spoiler, which I consider different than a normal spoiler because, like, there's a different courtesy and different, like, time limitations on things you can spoil. Like, okay, I didn't understand that you could spoil a game, Subnautica, that's been out for this long on certain aspects. And it's like, to me, it's been out for a fucking while. It's almost, didn't it come out in 2016? It's almost been a decade. There's other Subnautica games, like, it makes sense for those games, but Subnautica. But if you do it on accident, or you're just trying to talk about something that happened at some point and someone gets spoiled, that's different. But if you're going out of your way to spoil someone, like manga readers who go out to tell the anime watchers already what's happening, that's kind of dickheadish. But then the gatekeepers too, who are like, who just almost don't want you to be into anime or the anime they're talking about. It is weird. I haven't really met many people like that, but I'm kind of glad. Then you have people that are the researchers, I would call them. These are the people who actually are sometimes content creators, because they are looking into the lore, the world, the characters. They mainly make video essays about them. Good example I can think of is people. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Goddamn. I was gonna say the Grand Line Review, but he mainly does manga chapter reviews. That's a little different, but he does make theories and timelines and stuff too, so I would count them in that. These are also the people most likely to make OCs, because if they know this much about the world, the characters, the power system, they probably would want to insert a character of their own. And I'm not surprised. I've made some myself for story reasons or just because I wanted to. It's not as bad, like, compared to when you're a kid and you're doing it and you're making like really stupid looking, like, I don't draw the best. Obviously, I don't draw good. I wanted to be an animator, by the way. So, this should tell you why I didn't do that and why I'm sitting here recording instead of in college. But yeah, okay, oh yeah, and they enjoy anime because obviously they had the vastness of information. These are the people you'll find watching One Piece pretty much because of how big the world is. The lore is the main focus of the show. It's kind of cool. And you have the final anime fan that I call the All In. They basically are all in anime. They've watched everything. And these are people that are mainly hyperfixated, but have grand hyperfixation, so they'll watch a shit ton of anime. They mainly don't have much else to do. They have a lot of free time. This is usually like kids, students, people who aren't having to really go to work, for better or worse. They end up binging a shit ton of anime. If they're not an anime, they end up binging a shit ton of shows. If they're a millennial, they'll end up binge watching a shit ton of The Office. Um, but yeah, they just end up binge watching a shit ton of anime, and you'll bring up an anime and think it's real obscure and be like, oh yeah, I watched that, I didn't really like it, but I finished the first season. It's like, you say that like there's more than one season. Yeah, there's a second season too, I just didn't really like it. And it's just shit like that. Now we're gonna talk about the next part, which is basically gamer types, so see that. So this is loosely based off the like gamer personality types thing, but it's a little different because the first one is destructive. These are mainly the people who, at least in the way I view destructive as a gamer fan or someone who plays video games or a gamer type, is you're a dickhead. You might also be a bad hacker, which I consider as someone who has got malicious intent, or you play a lot of destructive games where you're doing a lot of destroying, for lack of better words, and they enjoy these games or these things they can do in games because they need to take out their emotions on something, which every person needs to do. The best form is the people who play certain games and not people who take it out on the other people. Not the best thing to do. I get that if you were a kid. As an adult, probably shouldn't be doing that. Now you have community for video games, which there are a lot, so I kind of have to read it. You have streamers, e-girls, toxic motherfuckers, gamer side coach, rage baiters, yappers, chill, and nice people. Obviously all these people are in there because they enjoy the community more of the gaming aspect. I mean, they enjoy the games they play, but the community they really like, and it kind of keeps them attached to the game. So obviously, like the streamers, again, me, streamer, just kind of, you gotta engage with the people who pop on, and you are really relying on the community for you to be able to have anything happen. If the community doesn't like your videos, you just won't get traction. Even if your videos get shown to 1 million people, if those 99,000 people don't like it, then you just won't get those people. Just how it is. E-girls, they're there for two reasons. We both know why they're there. Toxic people, they rely on the community to be toxic too. They need an emotional outlet, and sadly they do it to other people. You have the gamer side coach, which is the good person there, saying, hey man, you should do this, this might help, this might not be a bad idea. They're just trying to help. They're usually there, then they're playing the game because they want to interact with people, but they also want to be helpful and kind. You have the rage baiter, which again, they just like pissing people off. The yapper, they see it as the social circle to talk to, and so if you ever get on a game and someone is talking a shit ton and they're not streaming, that is what that is. They just need someone to talk to, or they just want to talk about something and they have no one else to. Give them that, as long as they're not being annoying or stupid. Like, let them talk. Then obviously you have the chill and nice players. They normally, if they don't play much else, they'll be like casuals and they just chill, play their games, don't talk to many people like in the community. But if they're in the community, they're usually very helpful too, but they're also just there kind of watching but making comments and likes and stuff. They're just very chill and nice, for lack of better words. Then you have the challenge / strategy people, who I include as like the people who are like, one more game, man. And I say this because these people thrive off the challenge or strategies that they have to use. They like using their brain and also trying to get better, even if they're not using their brain. And that's why they're like, one more game. They want to like get that progression that they've been putting in. The completionist / achiever, which you could consider a no life, are the people who, they obviously go and get all the achievements. They try and do all the missions. They try to get all the skins. These people usually just like collecting, so they enjoy going into games and getting all the shit, because if it gives them dopamine pretty much. It gives them a thrill from getting a task done like that. Then we have the powerful, which I'm going to describe before listing all the different things within it. These are people who play because they enjoy the power they get, or the power they feel they get from playing a game, usually where they are OP. And again, I have to read this one. These are the Smurf or alt account people, pay to win, high spender, I'm crazy good bro, and I wasn't trying. So the alt account people, they get to a point where they're being challenged too much, for lack of better words, and so they make an alt account where they're low rank and they can just shit on people who are worse than them. Pay to wins are high spenders. These are people that don't really like putting in the effort as much and just want to be powerful from the get-go, so they will spend as much money as they can to get whatever is best. Then you got the I'm crazy good bro / I wasn't even trying. These are people who can't admit that they're not as good as they think they are, and so they make up that excuse to socially seem like they're as good as they say they are, but they know internally that they aren't as good as they think they are because they were trying. And the reason I know this is because my brother, when we were younger, and he's another one I have coming up as a section because of him, I call the game god, really good at a lot of games. Even if I played a game before him, was into it before him, once he started playing it, he got better than me. So the few times I would beat him, when we were kids, he would say he wasn't trying. And again, we were kids, so I don't blame him. But yeah, we both know you were trying, man. We both know you were trying. Yeah, again, it's more of like the power of your skill in the game. It's kind of that kind of thing that they enjoy, and I don't blame them. People like feel like they're talented or powerful in some aspect of their life. Now you have the immersed, which range from people who really pay attention to people who give call out, people who notice little details, and then you have like the kids who get way into it because they automatically get more immersed and they cry, scream, yell, get scared easily, shit like that. And normally this comes to like they're so invested in the story or the gameplay that it just seems like their reality for a minute, for lack of better words. And then you got the explorers. These are the people that like, they will get lost, but they'll find something most of the time. And the explorers are mainly playing these games because they like seeing shit. I know how dumb that sounds from the way I said it, but like, they like just going around and seeing something they haven't seen before, and I don't blame them. New experiences are really good for people, especially mentally. That's why when you sit in your house all day, you get more depressed, because you're just exposing yourself to the same environment where you feel shitty, so you're just going to keep feeling shitty. It's like if everything was a mirror. You just bouncing shit off of all your walls that you're going to have to clean later, probably with some bleach. But that's why like people recommend you go outside, go for a walk. Hell, after this, go for a fucking walk if it's like safe out. Like, just go for a little walk, 10-minute walk. Like, it will make you feel so much better even if you're tired afterwards. What was this about again? Oh yeah, gamers and anime. Yeah. But yeah, that's what the explorers like. They like seeing new shit. Creators, not to be mixed up with content creators. These are the people that like designing shit. They like building shit. You'll mainly see them on Minecraft. Probably survival, or even creative mode, making crazy ass shit. These people like designing and planning and building and the process of creation, and I don't blame them. I have fun with it too. They mainly get the enjoyment out of that process of creation and artistic freedom. Then you have like the casual / hobbyists. This is where you get like most of your casual normal players. You got the split attention people, the AFK people playing music. These are the people who like aren't as invested or don't care as much about the video game and are actually using it as a hobby that they aren't trying to be really good at, for lack of better words. They just enjoy it as a thing they do, and that's why they normally don't care as much as most gamers, because they just see it as a thing for fun. For them, yeah, we're playing ranked, but at the same time I don't really care. It's not real. I'm gonna grab a bowl of chips, be damned whether we load in or not. I kind of envy that mindset, because for me it's more like, yeah, but we're all participating in this, and we all kind of, there's that agreement of like, we'll do the thing and not fuck each other over, but at the same time, it is just a game. Obviously, they enjoy it for whatever reason, but they enjoy it mainly as a relaxant. They like to relax. Now we got the pro/competitive, which is like a kind of where you'll see is where I put my brother, because it has the nerd/game god. This has the serious rager people. This has the revive me bro people, and the nerd/game god. They just like getting into something, experiencing it, and if they enjoy it a lot, they will get really good at it. Again, my brother is a good example. I've asked him before how he does it, and he goes into a game, he messes around with it, he watches videos, learns some shit about it, maybe looks up some shit about it, and then he goes in and tests his shit out. He actually practices shit, and then he gets in there, and he does fucking good. I've seen him, like, over a progression of time do shit. It's crazy. But, you know, obviously rage serious people, they are taking the game way too seriously, and they're probably really competitive. And then the revive me bro people are people who are also taking it too seriously, thinking that, you know, if they're brought back, you know, I get it. I've been in the same situation where it's like, dude, revive me, what are you doing? And at the same time, though, most of the time it's like they are just walking around doing nothing. They have full health. It's like, you have no reason not to revive me. They're in the perfect spot to. But for these people, most of the time, they're thinking if they're on the battlefield, there's at least more people that they think they're going to be carrying. Most of the time, if you're one of the first people down, you ain't carrying shit. That's why I'm pretty humble with myself. I don't consider myself that good at almost every game I play. Doesn't matter what rank I get, I will say I'm not good. So if you haven't noticed from what I've said in the beginning, a lot of things that we like about truck went by. Things we like about anime and video games tend to come down to how we experience them and what we get out of the community. That's why a lot of the gamer types and anime fans kind of line up or have their own parallels and mirrors, because it kind of hits the same thing for a lot of people. Community people, it's obvious, they get the community part, but then you get people who enjoy the personal aspect of it, enjoying the game for what it is, or the story it tells, or the world, or the lore. And same thing for anime. You get people who, you know, are there to analyze it, people who want to have a deep understanding. You have a lot of people like that, and it both cast a big net. But why is it that people who seem to play both of those so much and watch anime seem to really overlap? And I think it has some ties back to Japan. Again, video games originated from Japan. Like major video games. Nintendo has been around for a long time. These people, Taito, if I remember correctly, they had a hand in making Pong for an arcade game. They were the reason that Lupin got his own video game. They helped with that shit. They were the reason we got Dirk the Daring and his weird arcade 2D animated thing. And if you look at like the reasons why a lot of those things and why people actually tend to like Japanese video games a lot more than American video games, and why they get compared to Japanese video games a lot, it has to do with a lot of things that Japan has in its culture, in my opinion. Again, I don't study culture. This is just what I've realized through watching videos or, you know, talking with people, seeing the community, stuff like that. With a lot of Japanese work, there's usually a lot of care and effort put into it. And obviously those things are very important for when you're working on a media project. People want care and effort to go into it. But another big part of it is the human aspect, or the personal part of it. And mainly the amount of your personality or what you're thinking about goes into your work. Because think about how many like emotional or like things to get you thinking are in a lot of these anime and video games. Evangelion is considered one of the greatest anime of all time, anime series. And a lot of it is dealing with the personal issues of the writer. And I'm going to be taking something, or not taking something, but bringing up something Jacksepticeye said about Dark Souls 3. when he walks around, it kind of makes him think of how Miyazaki, if I'm correct, or the person in charge of making the Dark Souls series, kind of felt about it at that point, and was kind of doing what people wanted, but showing them that it wasn't exactly fully what they wanted, because they brought back a lot of things, and it was his personal take that he said in the middle of a run of the game. But at the same time, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of see why you say that, and it's kind of cool I can bring this back to Dark Souls 3 like that. But I just think that, like, the amount of when people see that you're putting yourself out there into something, even if it's subconsciously, we latch onto it more because we relate to it. And Japan seems to understand that a lot better than the US. You look at what the US does, and the US companies don't seem to take feedback. Japan does, mainly from their Japanese audience, which makes sense. That's who they're making shit for. But they listen to their audience a lot more, it seems, and interact with them a lot more on a personal level. And I think it's partly because they put themselves out there a lot more too, on a personal level, in their creations. Think about it, when you hear about a project coming from Japan, there's usually that one big name that's attached to it that people are like, oh shit, they're working on it? We know how this is going to be, we're going to like this. And it's a person. When you hear in the US, we're thinking, oh, is EA making it? Is it going to be Ubisoft? Is it going to be some other company that we haven't heard of before? We're thinking companies, and it's never like a personal thing. They're just making however they think the game's going to sell best most of the time. They're obviously going to have their own creators working on things, but never is tied to a person, because it doesn't ever feel as personal. And when it does, that's when we start referring to the creators. Like with Subnautica, a lot of people, especially with the recent bullshit that's been happening, people refer to Subnautica and the team more as the 3 people who were there at the start, the 3 people who were the head of the team. Because without them, there would be no Subnautica. And it's kind of like how it is for most manga. A lot of them are written by a single person, at least at the start. They make the manga. They mainly draw out a lot of at least a rough sketch of it. So a lot of times they are putting their own effort, their own personal emotions and feelings into it, their own experiences and past, and we kind of tie into it more. And I've noticed that a lot of people into anime or video games, especially on a deeper level, tend to have more things going on mentally, harder time socializing with people in the real world. And I am a good example. I love both anime and video games. The communities that can come from it, there is obviously bad in both communities, and both, the types of gameplay or types of anime and the different things that spring from it. But there's a lot more good from it, in my opinion. And I was the kid that, for a while, up until like high school, I had my group of friends I go and hang out with every day. After that, I was kind of just on my own, and I didn't really like too many of the people I was around. A lot of them felt either mean-spirited or very ignorant, and I have a hard time with ignorance, even where I know I have ignorance in things. But when you're overly ignorant to the point of ignoring information, it kind of bugs me. But yeah, I don't know what else much to say, other than I am glad to see that these communities do have an overlap, and I hope they tend to overlap more. And I hope better anime video games come out, to be honest. And as much as I do like Ultra Rumble, please stop with the battle royales. Stop giving us like make a good battle game that has a lot more dynamic battles that aren't just battle royale. But yeah, thank you to whoever is here this long. If you did get to the end for some reason, comment whether you think Dirk or Lupin are better characters. Just say one name or the other, and I'll know. More vehicles going by, I don't know what else to say. Other than have a good afternoon, evening, or night. Just have a good time. I don't care where you are. I just hope you're having a good time wherever you are.